from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
The Henrico Recreation Center has a new name, and Virginia's governor announces what the return to school might look like in the fall. We'll have details about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. It's brought to you today by Humana.
And now for the news.
Henrico County's Board of Supervisors last night unanimously consented to change the name of the Confederate Hills Recreation Center in Highland Springs. The center will now be known as the Springs Recreation Center. Varina District Supervisor Tyrone Nelson had proposed the name change in an email to the board last week, and it met with unanimous support. Other supervisors said they would defer to Nelson since the center is located in his district. During the meeting last night, Nelson said, quote, "Removing the names from buildings does not erase history, but it does acknowledge that it was a heinous part of the past that should not serve as a daily reminder of the pain and tragedy that still impacts the lives of black people today," end quote. Supervisors last night did not discuss one of Nelson's other primary objectives, the possible creation of a citizen review board that could consider alleged misconduct cases involving police officers and other public safety officials, though board members told the Citizen last week that they are likely to do so. You can read a full recap of last night's board meeting on henricocitizen.com by clicking under Government. But yesterday, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam announced that schools will reopen in the coming school year, but they'll do so under a three-phased approach with specific guidelines designed to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. The phased reopening will lead to the gradual reestablishment of in-person learning while keeping the student body safe, according to Superintendent of Public Instruction James Lane. All school districts immediately begin Phase 1, which permits certain in-person activities for special education students and child care for working families, while all other instruction remains virtual. Before districts may enter Phase 2, they must provide plans to the Virginia Department of Education outlining how they intend to operate in person while keeping students safe. The second phase will allow in-person learning for students in preschool through third grade and English as a second language students. In Phase 3, students would be allowed to return in person, but school officials would have to keep social distancing requirements in place and limit large group gatherings, such as the type that might otherwise occur in cafeterias during lunch, for example. Student athletes would be allowed to resume practicing and training in most instances during Phase 2, as long as they adhere to social distancing requirements, and competitive play would resume in Phase 3 for most sports. Henrico's confirmed COVID-19 case count is up to 2,162. The number of COVID tests administered to Henrico citizens amounts to about 4.6% of the county's total population, with about 14% of those results coming back positive. The county's 7-day positivity rate, the average number of positive tests during that 7-day period, has remained relatively stable between 11 and 12% this month. It peaked at 33.2% April 4th and mostly declined the rest of that month before increasing again in 3 smaller waves during May. As of June 6th, the most recent day on record, it was 11.9%. Henrico's death rate also has slowed. 100 people died during March and April, but only 35 have died from causes attributed to the virus since then, and only 4 of those have occurred since May 28th. The majority of Henrico's deaths have occurred among residents of long-term care facilities. The county has witnessed 223 people hospitalized because of the virus, but only 18 this month. Almost 1/3 of Henrico's confirmed COVID cases can be traced to one of 19 outbreaks, according to the Virginia Department of Health, and 16 of those occurred in long-term care facilities. Tonight from 5 to 6 p.m., U.S. Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger of Virginia's 7th District will host a telephone town hall meeting to focus on the disproportionate impacts of COVID-19 on Central Virginia's minorities. She'll be joined on the call by U.S. Representative Lauren Underwood, who represents a heavily minority district in Illinois, as well as representatives from the VCU Massey Cancer Center and Governor Ralph Northam's office. In Henrico, blacks account for about 30% of the population, but represent 42% of COVID cases and 43% of deaths. To listen or participate in tonight's meeting, dial into 855-920-0555. You can also watch or listen live at spanberger.house.gov/live. And a reminder, the Henrico Citizen has launched a new app. If you haven't already, go check out the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store and download the Henrico Citizen app. It'll allow you to set notifications if you'd like, and you'll receive instant updates whenever we post articles or podcasts of interest. The app, like all our content, is free. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by Humana. Turning 65 and have questions about Medicare? Humana can help. Call licensed sales agent Eric Jones at 804-253-0056 to learn more.